The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
Okay, let's go.
Deepfakes of Taylor Swift that went viral on X, formerly Twitter, are reigniting the debate about artificial intelligence and consent. Here's what happened. This week, several accounts posted obscene AI-generated images of the pop star themed around her attendance at Kansas City Chiefs games. According to Newsweek, many of the images were found on Celebrity Jihad, a website featuring AI-generated celebrity porn. As of January 25th, Taylor Swift AI was a trending topic on the platform. The accounts that made the images go viral have seemingly either been deactivated or gone private, and Swift fans have taken to the site to report the images en masse. Before protecting their post, one of the users, ZV Bear, said, quote, "My Taylor post went viral, and now everyone is posting it. Bro, what have I done? They might pass new laws because of my Taylor Swift post." Several states have made non-consensual deepfake pornography illegal, including Texas, Minnesota, Georgia, and Hawaii. In California and Illinois, victims can pursue creators in court for defamation. While the issue of deepfakes isn't new, increasingly sophisticated AI is making them more difficult to spot. Last October, President Biden signed a broad-ranging executive order to create AI safeguards, including to prevent, quote, generative AI from producing child sexual abuse material or producing non-consensual intimate imagery of real individuals. To date, Swift's camp has not commented on the uproar.
Oh, man. The Deep Shallow Dive podcast has jumped the shark officially by starting out with a Taylor Swift news. Ugh. Good Lord. What has happened to me? Where's my integrity? No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, I'm going to get attacked by the Swifties. Anyway, happy Tuesday, everybody. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Honestly, I've been wrapped up in filming a ton of videos, which are starting to trickle out onto Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all these places. But yeah, it's time to take the DSD to the next level, and that's what I'm doing. So anyway, sorry I missed you, but okay. So what I want to talk about today is really what's kind of going on, and something that I'm seeing, and it's really more of a hypothesis more than anything, but a lot of activity in this deep fake as part of the AI stuff. And, things are going to heat up, man. Things are going to heat up here soon. And so I wanted today to, just talk a little bit about what's going on. So you understand the Senate and congressional hearings that took place last week with the 5 CEOs of major social media companies, Meta with Mark Zuckerberg, and then the CEO of TikTok and Discord and a couple others. But I'm going to play some things there and talk about that along the lines of this, this Taylor Swift stuff. And, I started kind of trying to piece this thing together and, understand what's going on. And, obviously I do think it's a little bit strange over the past 6 to 9 months, just how prevalent Taylor Swift has been. I think the relationship with Travis Kelce is part of that, which that thing just does not make sense. I've said this in multiple episodes in the past. If you ever followed Travis, let's just say Taylor Swift was definitely not his type based on everything prior. So anyway, whatever. I mean, to each their own. Maybe he had a change of type, so that's all fine. But I have found it strange at just, how much bigger than any other music artist she's been with her tour, and then the Travis Kelce stuff, and then, the constant coverage on the NFL and all that. And so the narrative that's being really discussed by the talking heads on the right. I'm talking about people like Megyn Kelly, Dan Bongino, even Ben Shapiro, any political or person that is a, social media personality that leans totally right. They're basically saying, okay, this is a premeditated plan by the Biden administration in order to rally that base of young voters, or the Swifties as they're called, but really a way to get the young voter base on Biden's side because Taylor Swift is advocating for him. And you know what? That's just lazy. That's a lazy analysis. And it's also something I've said before, and I kind of love this expression, but if the dots are that easy to connect, chances are they're not the dots. And those are pretty easy dots to connect. That's why I don't think that's the case. Plus, most Taylor Swift fans, although, gosh, I do know some adults. I had a couple buddies from the Midwest, my friends from college, and then other guys I know who are dads. They were posting like excitement images of like Taylor Swift's new tour. And I texted my buddy, I go, dude, what did you get hacked or something? What is that? He's like, what are you talking about? You don't like Taylor Swift? I'm like, I don't dislike Taylor Swift, but I'm not going to post my excitement for her announcing her tour as a post on Facebook. That's a little much, bro. To which he retorted, you're a little much. I was like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. To each their own, right? To each their own. But anyway, my point is that, for the most part, the fans of Taylor Swift are really under voting age. And so I just don't think that is what is being attempted by, basically the plastering of Taylor Swift everywhere. Now, could there be something that is being attempted?
Bro, what have I done? They might pass new laws because of my Taylor Swift post.
Bro, what have you done? So that was the clip I played earlier. And, I think if there is a plan of making her so prevalent and in your face, I think that plan is going to be in order to rein in rights on the internet going into the election. And I'm serious. Like, that's what I think. If there's a ulterior motive for this stuff, I think that's the ulterior motive, to leverage, such a high profile person and to show the, really the misinformation and disinformation. I'm going to quote the World Economic Forum.
Annual Global Risk Report makes for a stunning and sobering read. For the global business community, the top concern for the next 2 years is not conflict or climate. It is disinformation and misinformation.
So that was a lady named Ursula von der Leyen. She is the president of the European Commission. To be honest with you, I find her very shady. And I found that weird. I really did. I'm going back and dissecting a lot of stuff from that World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. And, think about it. She's basically saying the biggest threat is not conflict, so not war, by the way, that's killing like thousands and thousands of people, and we're spending billions of dollars. It's not that. It's not climate change, which they've been pumping for the past 2 years as like the biggest threat to everything.
What the reports make clear, the devastating toll of climate change and its existential threat to all of us, and is the ultimate threat to humanity, climate change.
So that was literally just 6 months ago when Biden said, it's the ultimate threat to humanity. So I found that very weird at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where they're like, oh, yeah, climate change, it's not that big of a deal. Well, they didn't say that. All right, I'm going to be fair. I won't make that up. They didn't say it's not that big a deal. But again, to have misinformation and disinformation be the number one threat to humanity going into another election?
Followed closely by polarization within our societies.
Followed closely by polarization within our society. So again, what is polarization fundamentally? I mean, honestly, it's disagreeing. It's disagreements. And quite frankly, disagreements to an extent, especially in this current atmosphere we're in, I don't know. I look at them as healthy because, again, if there's no disagreements, then that means we all either agree, which is impossible, or then we're going to have to agree with what one group of people decide is the truth. That's it to me. It's like polarization. Let's get rid of polarization because we think a certain way and we don't want to allow the other side to think differently. And quite frankly, a lot of people do think differently.
These risks are serious because they limit our ability to tackle the big global challenges we are facing.
So in summary, here's what I'm seeing, and I'd be curious to get your thoughts and see if you're seeing that. But the misinformation, disinformation stuff seems like a way to basically quiet the counter voices to whatever the main narrative is. If there are dissenting voices or if there is opposition toward that, okay, so follow me with this. We call misinformation and disinformation the number one, potential crisis. But then it becomes a situation where who's judging that? Who's judging what is misinformation and what is disinformation? And this is where it goes back to this Taylor Swift and this concept of AI and all that. I feel like if there's any chance Taylor Swift is being, I was going to say monopolized, but not monopolized, mobilized. That's the word I was looking for. If there's any chance that Taylor Swift is being mobilized in order to accomplish something, I could see that being to accomplish legislation in regards to not only AI, but, censorship in general on the internet, which, by the way, is what has happened in China since 2017, since they've implemented, and I know I owe this episode, this social credit score system. You say the wrong things, you can't fly. You say the wrong things on social media, you can't buy groceries in a certain part of town. You can't move outside of a certain radius, potentially moving to digital bank, central bank digital currency, the CBDC stuff, which we've talked about to nauseum to an extent. All of that stuff could be limited, and all of that stuff really, it's pretty diabolical, but to think if there is a plan to mobilize all of that stuff collectively, and then now, pay attention. You're hearing a lot of this misinformation, disinformation. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. So obviously something needs to get done about that quote unquote problem, especially as we're moving into the election this year. And again, with the potential possibility / threat that some people might perceive it as of, will Trump really make it to the ballot? I don't know. I still think no on that. I just don't think that's going to happen. And that's why I think Nikki Haley has not dropped out. If this was 2012 or 2016, and if you follow the way politics run, the fact that she lost the Iowa caucus and the New Hampshire primary, you see, I got those right this time. She would have dropped out in those years, but she's not dropping out. So there's a reason for that. It's kind of like, hey, don't worry about it. Just hang tight. We're playing the long game on this. So that's why I really think that's the case. She's not dropping out, not because she doesn't want to, because she's just not doing it because she's being told not to drop out. Which, by the way, this is hilarious. As I was recording that, I got a text from the Nikki Haley campaign. It says, Ray, do you want temper tantrums or normalcy? Chip in $5 to cover shipping and get your Make America Normal Again shirt. I do not want a Make America normal again. I'd actually like a Make America. No, I'm not going to wear a Make America Great Again. I like the phrase Make America Great. And by the way, you know what? I got to make some corrections. My crack research team. I have a crack research team, by the way. It's mainly this one guy, but there's a few guys that correct me on a lot of different things. And I was corrected in the Make America Great Again campaign. That actually started with none other than Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the one who coined the phrase Make America Great Again. I don't think it ever took on the moniker MAGA, and obviously it never really took on a negative connotation. But then from Reagan, you had the Bush, Rumsfeld, Cheney era. Those guys kind of used it as well, but I kind of viewed those guys as a little bit nefarious. I do not view Ronald Reagan as nefarious. I liked Ronald Reagan a lot. I cried when he was shot. I literally remember my dad was picking me up from John Dewey Elementary School in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, when he told me Ronald Reagan got shot. And I was very sad. I liked Ronald Reagan. I think I must have been in like the 3rd or 4th grade. Anyway, so thanks to my crack research team on correcting me in terms of the origin of Make America Great Again, which then in the Trump era took on the MAGA moniker, and then that's where the media, turned that into a negative thing. But again, the actual concept of Make America Great Again goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan. All right, so that's it on the Taylor Swift deep fake stuff. Again, I mean, I don't think if there is a narrative or agenda with Taylor Swift, I don't think it's for voter purposes. I think it potentially could be used in order to bring attention and create a high-profile misinformation, disinformation situation in order to then ease legislation potentially to rein in AI, and then also, rein in social media, rein in what we can put out there. So, all right, that's my thoughts on that. Lastly for today, speaking of social media, I had to talk about this because I found it just completely ridiculous.
CEOs of Discord, Snap, TikTok, X, and Meta were called to Capitol Hill Wednesday. In the room, scores of parents holding up photos of their children, some who they say died as a result of online sexual exploitation, bullying, and harassment.
Well, I should say I found the senator's questions ridiculous, not the subject matter. But last week, a group of social media CEOs, I think they're all CEOs, but basically it was the CEO of Discord, Snap, Evan Spiegel, the CEO of TikTok, you won't know him, so I won't say his name, Mark Zuckerberg, who's the CEO of Meta, and then Linda Yaccarino, who's the CEO of X, which is Elon Musk's company. But basically, they were brought in front of a Senate Judiciary hearing, and they were just grilled. I mean, absolutely grilled. And, it was in regards to safety around child sex exploitation on social media networks, which again is an incredibly, incredibly serious and unfortunate, I guess, outcome of something like social media, and I don't really want to talk about the bigger question of, blaming these social media companies for what happens, because I think that's a slippery slope. I really do. And as sad as anything that happens to any child is, I find it interesting that, the level of empathy, a deep, shallow dive pillar, that is being talked about when it comes to, all these issues, sexual predators, the addictive features, suicide and eating disorders, unrealistic beauty standards, bullying, all of that stuff that takes place on social media, which, by the way, I think that stuff took place before social media as well, Probably all of those did, but we just didn't hear about them enough. But again, they should be talked about and they should ideally be addressed. And We absolutely should be 100% empathetic toward any family affected by, sexual predator, suicide, eating disorder, unrealistic beauty standards, bullying online. Any family who has a child that has experienced that, that's terrible. And my heart goes out to the family and the child, and hopefully it's not past the point of no return where the child is no longer with us, and ideally things can get fixed. But then why is that same level of empathy not directed toward 11,000 dead Palestinian children? Seriously, I know I haven't talked about it in a while, but like where is that outrage from the same senators for that? And those are dead. I mean, seriously, and especially this really, again, calling a spade, this was really on the Republican side more than the Democrat side. You've got guys like Lindsey Graham.
Social media companies, as they are currently designed and operate, are dangerous products. They're destroying lives, threatening democracy itself. These companies must be reined in, or the worst is yet to come. Mr. Zuckerberg, you and the companies before us, I know you don't mean it to be so, but you have blood on your hands.
For Lindsey Graham, like the warmonger of warmongers who wants to bomb Iran, bomb here, bomb there, constant war, supported the war in Iraq, supported the war in Afghanistan, for him to tell Mark Zuckerberg he's got blood on his hands, that's like the pot calling the kettle the warmonger.
You said today, as you often say, that you live in Singapore. Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen. Your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, okay. I'm Singaporean.
I literally think Senator Tom Cotton does not understand that Singapore is a country. It is actually a separate country. That was ridiculous. So that was him grilling the TikTok CEO. I forget what that guy's name is. But again, you guys know where I stand on all this stuff in terms of TikTok, and it's not like I'm some big, Meta fan or anything like that. But I found that line of questioning from Tom Cotton. Again, I actually like Tom Cotton. I really do. I've liked a lot of things he said, and he was a big vocal voice in the COVID stuff, which I appreciated that perspective. And so, for him to it was just disrespectful. That was just disrespectful, the way he questioned, the CEO of TikTok. And worse than anything, you've got these CEOs, ask them real questions. Let's talk about the infrastructure. What are the plans? What are the algorithms? What are the programs you guys are doing to curb all this stuff? These guys are just trying to get sound bites. It's kind of like, they're like trying to get that quote, and then they walk off and they're like, yeah, you see that? You see me handle that guy? And it's just a waste of time. Nothing gets accomplished. These CEOs of these tech companies are probably laughing inside, and then they leave and they're just like, okay, back to business as usual. And that's what all this stuff does. It just creates a spectacle for a few days, and then nothing happens. Nothing gets resolved, and we'll be right back having another Senate Judiciary hearing, 6 months from now or a year from now after whomever is in the White House.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all
Who did you fire?
Tools. Senator, I don't think that's...
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you didn't fire anybody. So you didn't take any action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated a single victim. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now?
Well,
they're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
Again, I'm going to preface this with my heart goes out to all those families, all those people, anyone that's had, a teenage girl or boy for that matter that had any harm inflicted physically, emotionally, mentally, any aspect from social media, my heart goes out to them. But, that was just a spectacle. So that was Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley, whom again, I like Josh Hawley. I like some of the things he says for sure. And grilling Zuckerberg, which by the way, Mark Zuckerberg, dude has been doing his working out, man. Bro looked ripped. He's grown his hair longer. He's buying up a ton of land in Hawaii, building bunkers there, and like doing jujitsu and potentially getting into fights with Elon Musk, which I think he would have whooped Elon Musk, although Musk is a lot bigger than him. But back to Josh Hawley. He goes in so hard on Mark Zuckerberg on this, but then he has been completely silent and if not attacking on the other side, and not once has he said, okay, I support Israel, which is totally cool. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But you know what? We got to stop killing these kids. There's over 11,000 dead children since October 7th, October 8th, I should say, So like, where's the outrage for that? That's not cool. Where's the outrage from Lindsey Graham on that? Both those guys almost went in the other direction, and never once did they say anything or exhibit any empathy toward the children that have been killed in Palestine. I don't know, man. I find that shit hypocritical. I really do. I find it hypocritical and I find it political, and it bugs me. It really bugs me, and it makes me lose respect for them when I've had respect for them, in regards to other things. On the Democrat side, Dick Durbin, the senator from Illinois, he kind of was on the same path. And, here's another career politician. It's funny, Lindsey Graham and Durbin, definitely career politicians. Josh Hawley and Tom Cotton are a little too young to be career politicians, but they're probably heading down that path. But, overall, the entire Senate Judiciary stuff with the CEOs of the social media companies, I found just, completely useless. And then the timing of it, with the timing of the Taylor Swift deepfake stuff, and then, all of these overall are heading toward, I guess, accountability, legislation, and reining in of either the social media companies or those of us on social media. I don't know. I found the timing of that all last week a little odd that they all came together at the same time. All right, that's it for today. Man, that went a little longer than I wanted it to or expected it to. But anyway, call a spade a spade. That's what we're doing. Again, on everybody, at all times, we are calling a spade, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, Libertarian. I don't care. If you say something good, I'm going to give you props. If you say something stupid, I'm going to call you out on it. All right, everybody, call a spade. Have a great day, night. Talk to you soon.
What does that mean?
This episode was brought to you by Boost Liquid Vitamins. Wake up, take your Boost, start your day. Drink your vitamins, build your immune system with Boost. Available on Boost.com.